A commercial tanker transiting the westbound traffic lane of the Strait of Hormuz keys the mic and sends the words that make every bridge officer sit up straight. Underwater shock, stopping. No missile plume, no radar warning, no flash on the horizon. Just a deep, concussive thump that climbs through steel like a fist from below. Engines come down to bare steerage. The wake collapses. The ship drifts, bow yawing as the current tugs at her hull. On the bridge, the master snaps into checklist mode. Steering response, bilge levels, ballast status, engine room report, damage control teams forward. A second vessel cuts in, voice tight. Unable to proceed, holding position. A third, request guidance, possible hazard in lane. And that is the first truth of mine warfare. The Strait can close without anyone announcing it. Missiles are fast. Everyone understands fast. Fast creates footage, timelines, winners and losers. Mines are slow, silent, strategic. A mine does not need to sink a ship to win. It only needs to poison confidence for a few hours in a corridor where confidence is the only clearance that matters. Bridge-to-bridge channels clog with overlapping calls. Masters widen spacing. Some drift off the traffic separation scheme, hunting for clean water that does not exist on any chart. Others stop entirely, unwilling to commit the next mile. Then the invisible shockwave hits the economy. Insurers run war risk models. Coverage pauses. Premiums spike. Fleet managers tell captains to hold outside the lane until clarity returns. But clarity is what mines are built to deny. Why Hormuz is different. Hormuz isn't open ocean. It is a constrained corridor, a narrow valve on a global pipeline. Commercial traffic funnels into structured lanes, because that is how you avoid collisions and chaos in tight water. In places, the traffic picture is simple. Two opposing lanes with a buffer between them. That means a threat doesn't need to cover the whole strait. Just the mile of water every hull is funneled into. One suspicious shock in that lane turns navigation into a referendum on risk, and risk slows everything. Predictability is comfort when the sea is safe. Predictability is a gift when someone wants to deny access. A mine campaign does not need to blanket the whole strait. It only needs to contaminate the lane ships are forced to use. A smaller vessel near the inshore side reports hull damage. Minor, maybe, but real. Debris surfaces. No cinematic fireball. No towering plume. Just fragments that refuse to explain themselves. Tehran denies involvement within the hour. Foreign sabotage, the statement says. A provocation. Defense officials briefing anonymously deliver a colder assessment. The pattern does not look like random drift. Random drift does not cluster where traffic is densest. Deliberate placement does. Traffic separation collapses into confusion. Captains inch forward, then stop. Pilots argue over safe water. A line forms at the edge of the Gulf like a stalled convoy of steel. And suddenly, everyone understands the new reality. Even a single suspected mine can make 100 ships behave like the next meter is haunted. The U.S. MOVE Pentagon guidance drops while it is still dark. Not a threat. Not a victory lap. A system turning on. Mine countermeasures forces are deploying to establish a safe corridor and escort commercial shipping as required. Translation: the slow war begins. This is not weapons-away warfare. This is search, classify, neutralize, recheck warfare. Mine countermeasure ships do not look impressive to an audience raised on carriers and strike timelines. They are smaller, slower, and specialized. But in a mined choke point, they are the tip of the spear, because they fight the threat you cannot intimidate with speed. Overhead, heavy helicopters configured for airborne mine countermeasures spool up. Rotor wash slaps the surface into white scars. Tow cables hum. Specialized gear skims and sweeps, hunting for something that wants to stay invisible. Main tension mines do not need a tactical win to create a strategic crisis. They can win economically. A handful of suspected mines can stall traffic for days. A single confirmed mine can freeze hundreds of ship movements. Every hour the lane stays in doubt becomes pressure on commanders. Clear fast, but do not rush into the trap. Human anchor. You are the deck crew on a mine countermeasures ship. The job is not glamorous. It is slow, cramped, and unforgiving. Floodlights turn the sea into hammered metal. Your ears learn the difference between normal vibration and the subtle changes that mean something is wrong. You stare at water that looks empty. That emptiness is the threat. A voice calls a contact on sonar, range, bearing, depth, confidence. Nobody says target. They say contact because mine warfare teaches humility. You move equipment with deliberate slowness. You check lines twice. You watch shipmates' faces for any flicker that says they saw something you missed. If there is a mine, it will not announce itself. Now you are the crew chief in the helicopter. The airframe shudders with power. The tow cable hums like a live wire. Downwash slaps the surface into foam. These systems work best when everything is quiet. But this environment is never quiet. A drone can appear, a fast boat can test the perimeter, a radar contact can force a turn that ruins a perfect sweep. Somewhere below you is the core truth of Hormuz. A cheap object can impose an expensive pause. Hit like if you want the minute-by-minute corridor breakdown. Comment, clear the lane. If you understand, the weapon is not the blast. It is the pause. Daylight does not make mines less lethal. It only makes the work possible. The first clearance lane is drawn like a thin pencil line through a wide, indifferent sea. That lane is not a promise. It is a hypothesis built from sonar returns, sweep passes, and disciplined risk. Mine countermeasures teams operate like surgeons working on a moving patient. Search, classify, identify, neutralize, recheck. Then do it again, because mine warfare punishes arrogance. What happens next isn't cinematic, it's mechanical. The sonar operators build a contact list. Shape, shadow, bottom type, confidence. They prioritize anything that looks like a mine case, a moored object, or a bottom influence device. Remote vehicles go down first because nobody volunteers a diver into an uncleared lane. Overhead, the airborne team starts the hard work. Long, steady patterns while towing sweep gear designed to trigger magnetic or acoustic fuses at a safe distance. The helicopter crew watches tension on the tow cable like it's a heartbeat. One bad turn can snap gear, foul a track, or force an abort that costs hours. And every hour matters, because the adversary's win condition is delay. They don't need mass casualties, they need headlines that say, shipping still frozen, and graphs that show prices jumping. A test movement begins, lower risk traffic first, escorted by patrol craft. The objective is simple and impossible at the same time. Restore motion without creating a new incident that validates the fear. A drone buzzes the edge of the corridor, not a strike. A camera with attitude. A reminder that the other side wants you looking up while the real danger sits below. A destroyer tracks it. A helicopter shadows it. The drone turns away. No shots fired. But the message lands. Fast boats appear at the edge of the picture, then slip back into clutter. Again, not a battle. A shove, a test. Low-level pressure meant to force a mistake. A new sonar contact appears inside the lane. The image is not perfect. Currents distort, silt blooms, but the shape has a hard edge that makes experienced operators go quiet. The command net tightens. Reacquire, narrow search, hold traffic. If you halt traffic, market spike. If you push traffic through and you are wrong, you do not just lose a ship, you lose the narrative of control, near miss. The decision is made. Stop the test movement. A remotely operated vehicle descends, slow and steady. The camera feed is grainy. Then the contact resolves. It is a mine. Not drifting, not detonated, waiting. Neutralization is procedural and cold. Charge placed, standoff set, final checks. Then the controlled blast, an underwater thump that everyone hears as both relief and warning. The lane is remarked, the pass is repeated, and the clock eats another hour. Onshore, that delay becomes leverage. Ports begin rationing tugs and pilots. Refinery schedules shift. Airspace fills with surveillance. Every rumor becomes a price spike. Commanders feel the trap. Go too slow, and you hand the adversary an economic victory. Go too fast, and you hand them a casualty they can broadcast forever, while the mine layers disappear into clutter and deny everything on camera. Outside the operational picture, the queue grows. Captains call owners. Owners call insurers. Insurers call governments. Governments call each other. This is the logic of mine warfare. You weaponize time. A mine campaign can lose tactically and still win economically if it buys enough delay. Every delay creates another kind of pressure. Political pressure. Because the world wants someone to blame, and a minefield is built to deny fingerprints. Twist. Inside the operations center, a second map dominates the wall. Not the strait, the coastline. The question shifts from where are the mines to where did they come from? Because the mine is the symptom. The mine layer is the disease. Analysts pull track histories. AIS gaps. Unusual rendezvous points. Small craft that should have been fishing but drifted into restricted boxes at the wrong hour. A coastal facility that went dark exactly when you would want to load something without being watched. Recovered components are compared against known designs. Casing thickness, fasteners, fusing architecture, manufacturing marks. Piece by piece, an evidence package hardens. And then you hear the signature line, "What they did not know is we have been building an evidence package for exactly this." Because in a choke point crisis, legitimacy is firepower. If you cannot attribute, partners hesitate. If partners hesitate, insurers hesitate. If insurers hesitate, the strait stays effectively closed. Now, the message is not just, we are clearing, it is, we can prove. That proof does not arrive with a Hollywood reveal. It arrives with recovered hardware. Time-stamped imagery, placement patterns, movement patterns, documentation that survives denial. As night falls, mine hunters slow down, not because they want to, because sensors become less forgiving, currents shift, fatigue creeps, and the most dangerous moment is when your brain starts craving certainty. You are back on deck, salt in the air, faint fuel on the wind. The horizon is a black line. A junior sailor asks the question everyone asks, how many are out there? No one answers with a number. Numbers are a trap. You answer with procedure. Clear by day, recheck by night. Assume reseating is possible. Treat every quiet hour as suspicious. Because a cleared lane is not a victory. A maintained lane is. Harassment continues. A drone orbit, a fast boat push, a suspicious wake. None of it is decisive, that is the point. Then the world notices what the Navy has been building toward. A high-profile convoy forms. Flagged tankers, escort warships, helicopters overhead. This is not just traffic. It is a referendum on control. The corridor test. The first tanker enters the newly cleared lane at controlled speed. Destroyers hold station off the shoulders. Patrol craft ride the edges. Helicopters pace overhead, towing and scanning, turning the air into part of the minefield geometry. A suspicious contact appears on sensors. Not a screaming alarm, worse, a quiet, persistent shape. The convoy commander has seconds to choose. Stop the column and freeze the world, or trust the clearance and risk becoming the headline. The order comes down. Convoy holds, verify. Operators stare. Resolution improves. The contact shifts. It is debris, not a mine. But nobody celebrates. They log every contact, every pass, every missed hour. The corridor is open today. It must be protected tomorrow. Mines are a campaign weapon, not a single event, when the next seed can come quietly again. But the decision window leaves a scar. In the convoy commander's mind, that was the moment the entire world balanced on a single sonar contact. If it had been real, you don't just lose a ship, you lose the lane, the insurers, the coalition, and the belief that any corridor can be trusted. The convoy moves again, one ship length at a time. The first tanker clears the corridor, then the second, then the third. And the most important event is the one that does not happen. No detonation, no impact, no new panic. That silence is the success condition, resolution. But the pressure does not vanish, it changes shape. Shipping companies ask for guarantees no Navy can honestly provide. Insurers demand proof tomorrow will not look like today. The regional partners demand de-escalation language while privately asking for more escorts. Iran repeats the denial, foreign sabotage, provocation. Yet now the response has two outputs, not one, a corridor and a case. Recovered mine components are cataloged like forensic evidence. Imagery is time-stamped. Track data is cross-checked. Partners are briefed with hard details. Because this is the strategic message. Mines are cheap. Clearance is expensive. Uncertainty is the weapon. But persistence is the counter-weapon. Systems, process, documentation. Strategic takeaway. A mine campaign bets the response will be slow, fractured, and politically exhausted. Disciplined corridor operations flip that bet. You reopen a lane. You normalize escorts. You harden attribution. You deny the adversary their favorite outcome. Nobody knows. But be honest about what still happened. Even if the convoy succeeds, disruption was achieved. Costs were imposed. Volatility spiked. Time was stolen. That is why mine warfare is so dangerous in Hormuz. It does not need a decisive battle. It just needs a decisive pause. Did the mine campaign fail militarily but succeed economically? At least for a week? Type yes if you think the economic hit was the real objective. Type no if you think corridor persistence defeats the strategy. Subscribe for the next update.